Europe is spooked by the failure of the Ukrainian counterattack and rushes to declare that it's not at war with Russia. The change in Europe's attitude towards Moscow is so dramatic that it literally seems as if a huge chunk has been torn away from the anti-Russian alliance. Relevant articles: Nuclear war games, US will blackmail Russia to push button after Ukraine strikes back. Nuclear war games, US will blackmail Russia to push button after Ukraine strikes back. Zakharova, only then will Russia use nukes. Let everyone understand that there will be no winners in such a war. And that was dated today, 15th of June, and the Nuclear War Games article was dated yesterday, 14th of June. A significant change in Europe's attitude towards Russia has been observed in recent days, with the sole exception of Germany, which seems to be trapped in a destructive dependence on the USA. The change is so dramatic that it literally looks like a huge chunk has been ripped out of the anti-Russian alliance. In the past period, at every opportunity, European officials declare that Europe is also at war with Russia. On January 24, 2023, the German foreign minister and brain of Germany's national security strategy, Annalena Baerbock, declared at the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, "We are waging war against Russia," she said. On April 5, 2023, Hervé Blégien, Director General of the European Union Military Staff, stated that from now on NATO will fully control EU military decisions. And on May 9, about a month later, 2023, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg was saying all NATO members agree that Ukraine will join NATO, meaning that the entire alliance is in agreement that Russia should be defeated in Ukraine. Then a day later, May 10, the EU's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell was saying essentially the same thing, albeit more paraphrased. The change of attitude, the failure of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. And suddenly, yesterday, June 14, 2023, Blégien comes to undo everything, and he and other European officials have been saying all along, quote, sending ground forces to Ukraine means that you are at war. It means you are at war with Russia, and nobody wants that, not the EU, not NATO. We are not at war with Russia, end quote, emphasized the Director General of the European Union Military Staff, a statement that geopolitical analyst Eric Zeus considers extremely important. Something extremely important has happened that has reversed or cancelled the EU and also NATO's war against Russia. But no one reveals what has caused the change, or even that there has been a change. This was the first such statement from the European Union that the war against Russia is over. It will not go all the way to the US-EU war. The failure of Ukraine's counterattack is so deafening, the destruction of Western weapons so emphatic, and Russia's determination to stop Western aggression so clear, that the European Union has been dominated by colder thoughts, the exception of Germany. But there is one exception. Annalena Baerbock and the entire German government are now even more committed to war against Russia than before, because on June 14, yesterday, the German government finally came out with a national security strategy promoting war. Quote, all of us must learn that with Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine, freedom and peace do not fall from the sky, the German foreign minister said. Germany's national security strategy is inspired by Baerbock and names Russia as the biggest threat to peace and security. This is the first German post-war treaty which describes Moscow as a power that threatens both regional and global order. Germany, which has 231 U.S. military bases, by the way, on its soil, yes, 231, is ravaged by U.S. economic sanctions, the blowing up of the Nord Stream gas pipeline, and other economic burdens imposed by Washington. One would expect to differentiate itself from other states, members of the alliance. And yet Germany is still bound by the Biden administration's demand for a regime change in Russia. And the cracks, the fissures in Europe European cohesion are evident and expressed most strongly by French President Emmanuel Macron, who is trying to break away from the fatal embrace with the United States. I should say fatal, that was a Freudian slip. A fatal embrace with the US. The developments are not auspicious. As with the resounding failure of the Ukrainians, the US will resort to nuclear blackmail of Russia, literally playing with fire. Russia, for its part, working methodically, has made it clear that it will remove the Europeans' member states, which differ from the United States, from its nuclear target. And in this way, the US risks being left without allies in Europe. Nuclear for defense purposes only. Russia will use nuclear weapons only in emergency situations and only for defensive purposes. Russia's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova clarified at a press conference in the sidelines of St. Petersburg International Economic Forum on Thursday, today. Russia's nuclear deterrence policy is strictly deafening. The hypothetical use of nuclear weapons is clearly limited by emergency circumstances in the context of strictly defensive purposes, she said. Zakharova pointed out that Moscow is fully committed to the principles of unacceptable nuclear war. She said, there can be no winners in this, that is, nuclear war. It should never be unleashed. We consistently call on all other parties, she said, to the joint statement of the leaders of the 5 nuclear states on the prevention of nuclear war and the inadmissibility of an arms race to adhere to these positions, end quote, the spokesperson for Russian Foreign Ministry said. At the same time, it was not ruled out that Russia's decision to suspend the treaty on the reduction of strategic arms, the New START treaty, could be reversed. Zakharova said, in this case, yes, only if Washington shows political will and makes efforts to ease tensions and de-escalate and create conditions for resuming the full operation of the treaty. And this is from Banking News Greece. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Today's news concerning Ukraine and the European Union. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.